I died alone on a rain-soaked bench in Central Park, my wedding ring slipping from my numb fingers into a puddle that swallowed it whole. Jack's voice echoed in my head one last time. "You're nothing but a gold-digging liar, Sophia. Get out of our lives," as the pills I'd swallowed finally dragged me under, the betrayal burning hotter than the overdose. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button. And when I gasped awake 5 years earlier, in our king-sized bed, Jack's arms still slung possessively over me, I knew this time I'd rewrite the script, with blood on the ink. The first thing I did was puke into the en-suite marble sink, my body rejecting the ghost of that final night like it was bad takeout from a midtown diner. It was July 2020, the height of lockdown hell, and the world outside our Fifth Avenue penthouse was a muffled roar of sirens and distant protests. Jack was snoring beside me, his salt and pepper hair tousled just like always. The man I'd fallen for at that charity gala in 18, charming venture capitalist. Widower with a teenage daughter from his first marriage, the whole package wrapped in bespoke suits and whispered promises. Lila, his princess, was downstairs in her room, probably scrolling TikTok or plotting her next passive-aggressive jab. Back then, I'd chalked it up to teen angst. Now, I knew better. She'd been the architect of my downfall, a 16-year-old viper in designer jeans. I splashed cold water on my face, staring at the mirror. Same hazel eyes. Same wavy chestnut hair falling to my shoulders. Same faint scar on my chin from a childhood bike crash in Queens. But inside, I was a fortress rebuilt from ruins. The memories crashed over me like a subway train, the fabricated affair she'd uncovered, the forged texts on my phone. Jack's blind rage as he signed the papers without a second glance. I'd lost everything, the penthouse, the life we'd built, even my own dignity scraping by as a barista in Brooklyn while cancer ate me from the inside out, undiagnosed until it was too late. Stress, the doctor said. Betrayal kills slower than bullets, but just as sure. Second chance, I whispered to my reflection, gripping the sink until my knuckles whitened. This time, you burn first. I didn't waste a breath on hysterics. By dawn, while Jack showered for his Zoom calls, I was in the home office, my laptop humming to life. The penthouse was a shrine to excess, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the park, abstract art that cost more than my parents' house in Astoria. I'd been a graphic designer when we met, freelancing for ad agencies. But marriage had turned me into the perfect trophy, elegant at galas, supportive at board meetings, invisible when it suited them. Now, I pulled up old emails, cross-referencing dates from my deathbed haze. Lila's lies hadn't started with the affair scam. They'd been simmering since day one. Her mother, Jack's first wife, had OD'd on fentanyl when Lila was 8, official story, accidental. Whispered rumors, suicide after Jack's affairs. I'd never dug deep. Why rock the boat? But in those final weeks before my own end, holed up in a ratty sublet, I'd hired a PI on credit. The report had arrived the day I swallowed the pills. Jack's mistress back then wasn't just some intern, it was his business partner, Elena Voss. And Lila had known, hell, she'd covered for them, deleting texts, forging alibis, all to keep her daddy's empire intact. The kicker? Elena was Lila's godmother. And the inheritance Lila guarded like a dragon wasn't just cash, it was dirt on Jack's shady deals, shell companies laundering crypto from dark web trades. I'd died clutching that USB drive, too broken to fight. Now, with trembling fingers, I copied files from the cloud backup I'd forgotten about. Jack emerged from the bathroom, towel around his waist. That boyish grin melting the ice in my veins for a split second. Morning. Gorgeous. Coffee. I forced a smile. The kind that used to light up rooms. Black. 2 sugars. You spoil me. He chuckled, leaning down for a kiss that lingered just long enough to remind me why I'd stayed so long. That's the plan. Lila's got that virtual summer camp thing today. Thinks she'll survive without her squad. She's tougher than she looks, I said, the words tasting like ash. Tough like a shark in fresh water. As he dressed, I slipped into the kitchen, the espresso machine hissing like a warning. Lila shuffled in minutes later, all gangly limbs and bleached highlights, her phone glued to her hand. 16 going on sociopath. Hey. Sophia, she drawled, not looking up. Dad says you're doing that freelance gig again. Need me to proof your crap? The old me would have laughed it off. Grateful for the bonding. This me? I saw the flick of her eyes. The calculation behind the boredom.
Nah. Kiddo.
I've got it. But hey, want to help me with something fun later? Like digging up old family photos. Her head snapped up, blue eyes narrowing like I'd suggested taxidermy. Family photos? Why? Just nostalgia. Your mom's old albums are in storage. Bet there are some gems. She shrugged, but I caught the twitch in her jaw.
Bingo.
By noon, while Jack was locked in virtual handshakes with Silicon Valley bros, Lila and I were in the climate-controlled basement vault, boxes stacked like forgotten sins. She hovered as I flipped through faded prints, Jack and his late wife at a Hamptons wedding, beaming Lila as a toddler, chubby-cheeked and innocent, Elena in the background of half the shots, arm looped through Jack's, her laugh frozen in glossy permanence. These are lame, Lila muttered, snatching a photo. Mom hated Elena. Said she was a snake. I arched a brow. Playing dumb. Really? They look tight here. Lila's laugh was brittle. Appearances? Sophia. Dad's world is all smoke and mirrors. You know that.
Touché.
Princess. But the hook was set. That night, over takeout Thai, Jack's favorite, pad CEW with extra lime, I dropped the first pebble. Found some wild stuff today.
Babe.
Elena's in. Like, every old pic. She was basically family. Jack paused mid-bite. Chopsticks hovering.
Elena?
Yeah. She helped with the firm back when Claire got sick. Good times. Mostly. Lila's fork clattered.
Dad.
Seriously? After what she... Drop it. Lil, he said sharply, the vein in his temple pulsing.
Ah.
The fracture lines. I'd forgotten how quick he shut her down. But Lila didn't drop it. Later, as I pretended to scroll Netflix in bed, I heard her voice through the baby monitor I'd accidentally left on in the hall, paranoia from my barista days paying off.
Dad.
She's snooping. You can't trust her with that shit. Jack's sigh was weary. She's my wife. Lila. And it's ancient history. Elena's married now. For Christ's sake. Let it go. Not if she finds out about the accounts. Mom's money. Enough. His whisper was a whip crack. We protect what's ours. Always have. I killed the feed. Heart pounding like a bass drop at a Bushwick rave. So the secret wasn't just Elena's fling, it was the offshore slush fund. Claire's inheritance siphoned to cover Jack's indiscretions. Lila wasn't guarding family honor, she was complicit in the grift. groomed from pigtails to protect daddy's dirty laundry. And I'd been the perfect blindfold. The next week blurred into calculated chaos. I ramped up my freelance hustle, pitching bold campaigns to old contacts, ads for ethical fintech, irony dripping like cheap Merlot. Money in the bank meant options. And I needed an exit ramp that didn't end in a park bench. Jack noticed. Of course. You're on fire. Soft. What's the spark? I lied, tracing his jaw. And, not wanting to lose my edge, nights, I'd slip out for runs along the reservoir, actually meeting my PI, rehired with my first paycheck. Gus was a grizzled ex-cop from the Bronx. Owed me a favor from a pro bono design job years back. Dig deeper on Elena and the kid, I texted. And Jack's crypto side gigs. No traces. Gus delivered in drips. Elena's marriage was a sham. Her firm entangled in Jack's ventures via backdoor loans. Lila? She'd hacked her high school counselor's email at 14 to bury a bullying complaint against her. Naturally. The girl wasn't troubled. She was a tactician. Raised on boardroom betrayals. My first controversial call came mid-August. Heat wave turning the city into a pressure cooker. Lila accidentally spilled red wine on my favorite silk blouse during family game night, Monopoly. Because Jack loved the irony. Oops, she smirked, dabbing at it with a napkin like she gave a damn. Old Sophia would have iced it over.
Knew me?
I stood, glass in hand, and dumped the rest of my Merlot, vintage Napa. $200 a bottle, square on her white jeans. The room froze. Jack's jaw dropped. Lila's eyes went feral. Sophia, he barked. Sorry, I said sweetly, echoing her tone. Clumsy me. Guess we're even. Lila bolted to her room, sobbing theatrics that fooled no one who'd lived it before. Jack rounded on me later. In the study, scotch in hand. What the hell is that? She's a kid. Kid? She's 17 now.
Jack.
Old enough to know better. Or, are we still pretending she's fragile china? He paced. The lion in winter. You've been off lately. Snapping at her, digging up the past. If there's something. I stepped close. Voice low and lethal. Something like what? Like realizing your daughter's got claws sharper than yours? Or that Elena's ghost is still warming your bed in those business trips? His face drained of color. Where'd you hear that name? Does it matter? I pressed, twisting the knife. The question is, how long do I play house with a man who lets his little girl run the show? We didn't speak for 2 days. Lila sulked, posting cryptic Insta stories, black and white filters. Quotes about toxic vibes. I didn't care. The seed was planted, doubt worming into their fortress. But revenge isn't a sprint, it's a marathon with landmines. By September, as leaves turned gold in the park, Gus's report landed like a grenade, proof of the shell company. Voss Legacy LLC, funneling Claire's life insurance into crypto wallets tied to Jack and Elena's affair payouts. Lila had access. Metadata showed logins from her iPad. The girl wasn't innocent. She was the vault keeper. Ensuring Mom's suicide payout greased the family machine. And the twist? Claire hadn't OD'd accidentally. Toxicology buried in a cold case file suggested foul play, tampered pills. Courtesy of a friend named Elena. I sat on the balcony that night. City lights blurring through tears I didn't shed. Jack joined me.
Tentative.
Soft. We need to talk. About. I sipped my gin. Steady as a surgeon. Lila says you're Investigating us. That's insane. I laughed. Cold and clear. Investigating? Try surviving. You think I don't see it? The way she whispers in your ear. The way you flinch at old names. Claire didn't kill herself.
Did she?
And you let everyone believe it to keep the cash flowing. He staggered back like I'd slapped him. You don't know shit. I know enough. I pulled the USB from my pocket, the new one, loaded with Gus's prelims. And if you don't believe me, ask your princess why she's got login creds to a dead woman's accounts. The silence stretched, broken only by a distant siren. Jack's empire was cracking, and I was the hammer. But Lila? She struck back fast. 2 days later, my inbox pinged. Anonymous email. Screenshots of me flirting with a colleague, deepfakes. Sloppy but convincing. Jack confronted me at dinner. Face thunderous. Explain this. Lila watched from across the table, fork spearing her salmon like an accusation. I met her gaze. Then Jack's. It's fake. And we both know who sent it. The fight erupted, plates slamming, voices shattering the crystal calm. You're paranoid, Jack roared. Lila's all I have left of Claire. And I'm what? Disposable. I shot back, the old wound ripping open. You chose her lies last time.
Jack.
Don't make it twice. He stormed out, to Elena's no doubt. Lila smirked, but her eyes darted fear. Finally. That night, alone, I plotted the escalation. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd leak the files to the Times anonymously, but not before offering Jack a deal. Divorce quietly.
Give me half the assets.
Or watch it all burn in headlines. Mercy was for the dead me. This Sophia played to win. Fall deepened. Pumpkins carving up the village sidewalks. But our home turned Arctic. Jack buried himself in work. Lila in virtual classes. Me in strategy sessions with Gus over burner phones. The PI uncovered more. Lila's secret Insta-alt. At Shadow Queen NYC. Doxing frenemies with vicious precision. Revenge porn light. Enough to tank her Ivy dreams. The girl's moxie was admirable, if it weren't aimed at throats. My second big swing came at Thanksgiving, irony.
Right?
Family dinner at the Hamptons estate. Elena invited as old friend. She'd aged like fine wine. Blonde bob and power heels. But her eyes on Jack screamed unfinished business. Lila hovered. Territorial cat in human skin. Over turkey and cranberry relish, I raised my glass. To secrets. May they stay buried or not. Elena's laugh tinkled. Cryptic. Sophia. Wine talking. Something stronger. I slid the folder across printed Voss legacy docs. Redacted just enough. Like truth. Jack choked on his bite. Lila went white. Elena's poise cracked. What is this? Your legacy, I said mildly. Claire's money. Funneled through lies. Jack's debts. Your cut. And Lila's little digital fingerprints all over it. The table exploded. Accusations flew, Jack bellowing at me. Elena hissing at him. Lila screaming.
You bitch.
You ruined everything. Ruined? Honey. I was just getting started. Jack dragged me to the study post-meal.
Doorschlemming.
You're destroying us. Us. I echoed. There is no us.
Jack.
Not after you believed her fairy tales and left me to rot. Sign the papers. Half the pot.
Clean break.
Or I hit send to every reporter from here to DC. He slumped into the leather chair. The king dethroned. Why now? We were happy. Were we? Tears pricked. Traitors. Or was I just the buffer? Keeping your guilt at bay. He signed at dawn. Hungover and hollow. Lila pounded on the door as the notary left. Mascara-streaked fury. You can't do this.
Dad.
She's lying.
But the ink was dry.
By Black Friday, I was out, penthouse to a sleek Soho loft. Alimony wired. Assets split like a bad divorce pie. Elena ghosted. Her firm's stock dipped on rumors. Jack retreated to therapy and AA meetings. The crypto empire audited by feds sniffing embezzlement. Lila? She unraveled spectacularly. Expelled from private school for the alt account leaks, Gus had tipped the dean anonymously. Her rage text lit at my phone. I'll make you pay. Step bitch. I blocked, but saved screenshots. Insurance. Winter hit like a freight train, snow blanketing the park where I'd died. I thrived in the aftermath, new agency launch, clients lining up for my edgy campaigns on corporate greed. Dates with a sculptor from Brooklyn. No rings yet. Freedom tasted like craft IPAs and midnight runs without ghosts. But revenge has hooks. Christmas Eve. Jack called.
Slurred.
Soft. Lila's gone. Ran off with some boyfriend. Left a note, blames me. Us. My heart twisted. The old ache. You built this.
Jack.
Fix it. I can't without you. Sob story.
Classic.
Too late. I hung up, but sleep evaded. Was I the villain now? The woman who'd torched a family for her own scorched survival? New Year's dawn crisp. Resolutions be damned. Gus texted, Lila spotted in Miami. Shacked up with a trust fund burnout. Posting yacht selfies, laced with desperation. Jack was selling the penthouse. Elena's firm bankrupt from the probes. Then the twist, the one that almost broke my reset. A manila envelope arrived at my loft. No return address. Inside, Claire's diary. Pages yellowed. Entries scrawled in frantic script. Jack's affairs killing me. Elena's pills. Lila knows. Says it's for the best. God forgive us. And a note. In Lila's hand. You win, Sophia. But Mom didn't kill herself. I helped. For Dad. Now you know the monster you married, and the one I became. Burn it. Or don't. I sat on the floor. Diary open. The city humming below. Betrayal layered on betrayal. A Russian doll of rot. Claire's words painted Lila not as villain, but victim, groomed to silence. To sin. To survive a father's sins. The controversial choice. Destroy it. Let them rot in their private hell? Or expose. Drag the whole rotten core into the light. Consequences be damned?
Eat sfida.
Not for mercy, but truth. The diary fed the flames in my fireplace insert. Ashes scattering like confetti. No headlines. No trials, just ghosts exorcised. Spring bloomed. Cherry blossoms mocking the scars. Jack reached out once more. Sober now. I'm sorry. Soft. For everything. Forgiven, I said. But not forgotten. Lila returned months later. Court-mandated rehab. A shell of her scheming self. They rebuilt. Fragile as Rice Krispies.
Me?
I walked into sunsets unburdened. The divorce, not just reshaping their world, but forging mine from the ashes.